Thank you for watching our series on SCCM OS deployment. This is a multi-part series that will provide you with a brief introduction to Deploy Expert for Microsoft System Center 2007. Deploy Expert by Altrinsic Solutions. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about profiles. DX's Profile Manager lets you create new profiles. While DX will always come with a default profile, and that's typically set to Windows XP, you can deploy most any Microsoft operating system with Deployment Expert just by creating a profile and selecting that operating system. So we'll go ahead and hit New Profile, and I'll make this one for, I don't have Windows Vista in my database, so I'll make another Windows 7 64-bit, and we'll make it French. How about that? We can limit it to a collection. You can select whatever collection would be appropriate, and then go ahead and create that profile. Now we're in the profile that I've created simply by selecting it, and I can specify the target OS and a few more settings. Here's the target OS picker. I'm going to go ahead and select Windows 7, and I could even get specific with a subvariant or go with any of that type. But more interesting, I wanted to limit this one to French in my hypothetical. So we'll uncheck any locale, and I could check multiple locales here, but we'll go ahead and go down and find the French. And we could pick which ones of that we want, or all of them. There. We also have something available called filters. Now, DX basically analyzes inventory, as we discussed earlier, to classify systems into models and classes, and uses the results of the continual stream of oncoming inventory to keep the classification accurate so that it reflects the real-time hardware makeup of your enterprise. Now, one of the things you have the capability to do is control how picky and in what ways DX is picky and classifying systems. You can opt in or out of consideration certain battery classes or any other of the standard Microsoft classes, or other classes that are not Microsoft standard ones that are in your inventory. And even within a class that you've left active, you can go down and sub-organize different devices and accept a device from consideration. Why would we do that? Well, consider, for deployment purposes, if you had two laptops that had different video cards, would you want them to be classified together? Probably not, because those different video cards are going to drive very different driver requirements. But what about two laptops with a different battery? Since the battery, I believe it's msbattery.sys, is included in Windows, it's not a deployment concern. So that's a device we can typically afford to ignore, because you're not required to put or make a driver available during deployment, or things like mice or monitors, devices that are integrated with your system but not necessarily consequential from a driver needs requirements standpoint, can be accepted and filtered out. So again, you can filter both at the major device class level or leave a class active. For instance, obviously network cards are very important to consider when we classify, but you could go down and filter out something like a virtual device. Cisco VPN adapter, for instance, would be a good one. RAS async adapter, it's a software item. So you have complete control over the nature of the classification. We'll go ahead and save our filters and settings for our profile, and then coming back to it, we would be ready to load that profile and start working with it. And load. Yes. Okay, so there it is. Now, one of the purposes of the target OS is to protect you from harvesting drivers that are inappropriate for the operating system that you specified in the profile. And so even though I have some systems in here that are Windows 7 64-bit, and I theoretically could have harvested off them, they're not French, they're English. And so what that would do is protect me from getting a set of drivers that are in the wrong strong language and blending it with an OS and an image inappropriately as delivered through your task sequence. Once you've created a profile, you can manually add drivers the way you're used to, and or use a combination of harvesting, very useful for existing environments where you want to quickly get an efficient and comprehensive driver library together to handle your existing systems and standard deployed operating system, or to absorb the drivers out of new systems when you purchase them, and then return your corporate standard image and then bring those drivers right back into the system for a very quick deployment turnaround. So that's basically the concept of profiles in the Deploy Expert model, and you can create as many profiles as you need to handle your deployment needs, and you can, as you see, hot shift between different profiles, and it'll immediately reindex the results that you're seeing to your profile. Once you've created your profile and got your drivers on board, then you can add your task sequence. You can actually add the task sequence at any time, and once that's integrated, you're ready to use your task sequence and have DX do the heavy lifting for you. This is the conclusion of this video segment. Subsequent videos will take you through additional phases of how DX can assist you with your SCCM OS deployment. If you'd like to know more about Deploy Expert, just go to www.deployexpert.com and select the contact form. We'd be happy to help you with any questions, trial software, proof of concept, or any information you may require. Thanks from Deploy Expert.